Okay, so we're going to start off learning how to annotate. So one of the first things you want to do is to highlight unfamiliar words. And obviously we can start off with those words that are in bold, because those can clearly be some vocabulary words or words that you might be asked on the test. Then you can go through and look for words that you're not familiar with that might not be highlighted or bolded. Okay, so we can go through and look through for any other unfamiliar words like propelled. Okay, now let's look for some more. We may not know what foolish means, or scowled. We may not know what a bulletin is. We may not know what squirmed means. We may not know what herded means, or lingered. We may not know ballet. We may not know what clever means. And that looks like most of the unfamiliar words that we've got there. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is that we're going to start numbering our paragraphs. Now, since this is going to be the second page, we're going to start up here with paragraph 6, and these can be one sentence paragraphs, because as we know on tests, they often ask you to refer back to the numbered paragraph. So we want to get used to numbering our paragraphs so we know where to go back to when we're reading and looking at our notes. All right. So even if you make a mistake, it's okay. You can go back and fix it. And then we're going to look here and kind of highlight these that we made. And I'm doing that because the highlighter's not very bright in this video. Okay. Now some of these we're seeing more than once throughout the passage. Now I'm going to take this passage because it's longer, and I'm going to make them some notes. Make some notes in here. So we all know that roll was taken. That means that they took attendance. Okay. And emergency cards were passed out. So if you're not sure what that means, that they filled out emergency contacts. And then they were given a bulletin to take home to their parents. So if you're following along with the reading, they took attendance, and then they were given information to fill out, and then they were given a bulletin to take home to their parents. So if we look at context clues, so we can put up here that they're doing context clues. Okay, because that's what we want to do when we're looking for text evidence and making annotations. If you're given something to take home to your parents, it could be a letter with important information. Okay, that seems like a good definition. Okay, the principal, Mr. Belton, spoke over the crackling loudspeaker, welcoming the students to a new year. So we know that this is a new school year. Okay, so we want to make that notation here. And that kind of goes with the other information here because they were given emergency cards and they were given a bulletin. Okay, so we only do that emergency cards kind of stuff at the beginning of the year. New experiences and new friendships. The students squirmed in their chairs and ignored him. Okay, they ignored the announcements. And they were anxious to go to first period. So they were anxious, they were ignoring the announcements, and they squirmed in their chairs. So if they're squirming in their chairs, if they're ready to go to first period, what do we think squirmed means? So I'm going to make a guess and say that they were hyper, they were ready to go, they were moving around a lot in their chairs. Okay, and that they were hyper. Okay, hyper or nervous to go to first period. Okay, but the opposite, it says Victor sat calmly, thinking of Teresa, who sat 2 rows away, reading a paperback novel. This would be his lucky year. Okay. She was in his homeroom and would probably be in his English and math class, and of course French. So he would be in 1, 2, 3, 4 classes with Teresa. Victor has 4 classes with Teresa. Okay, and then after you're finished making these notes here, what we need to do is make a summary of paragraph 11. So paragraph 11, this is the symbol for paragraph, okay, is a recap of homeroom and Victor's feelings, or Victor feeling excited or happy about classes with Teresa. Okay, so this is just a summary, a quick overview of how your annotations should look. So if we look at that, just that one paragraph has a lot of information, and doing all of that helps you to understand the message of the author that he wants you to get across about the characters and the setting and everything that's going on in this passage. And that's what we need to be doing when we're annotating a reading, because it can help you get to the meat underneath and the information and the details that the author is trying to convey.